Standing Female Nude, by Carol Ann Duffy, speaks on the role of the artist model in the studio of an unfeeling painter who sees her only as a means to an end. Standing Female Nude, by Carol Ann Duffy is a three-stanza poem that is separated into uneven sets of lines. The first two stanzas contain 7 lines each and the final stanza stretches out to double the length, at 14 lines. Duffy did not choose to give this piece a structured pattern of rhyme, the lines are in free verse. Standing Female Nude by Carol Ann Duffy. 6 hours like this for a few francs. Belly nipple ass in the window light. He drains the color from me. Further to the right. Madam, and daughtry to be still. I shall be represented analytically and hung. In great museums, the bourgeoisie will coo at such an image of a river whore. They call it art. Maybe, he is concerned with volume, space. I with the next meal. You're getting thin. Madam, this is not good. My breasts hang slightly low, the studio is cold. In the tea leaves. I can see the Queen of England gazing on my shape. Magnificent, she murmurs. Moving on, it makes me laugh. His name is Georges. He tells me he's a genius. There are times he does not concentrate and stiffens for my warmth. Men think of their mothers. He possesses me on canvas as he dips the brush repeatedly into the paint. Little men, you've not the money for the arts I sell. Both poor, we make our living how we can. I ask him, why do you do this? Because I have to. There's no choice. Don't talk. My smile confuses him. These artists take themselves too seriously. At night I fill myself with wine and dance around the bars. When it's finished, he shows me proudly, lights a cigarette. I say, 12 francs and get my shawl. It does not look like me. The speaker is quite clear. She is a female model, posing for an extended period of time for an artist. The language Duffy uses is commonplace and easily understandable. This represents the girl's own social standing. She is someone of the lower, or lower middle class, trying to make a few francs. It is thought that Georges Braques's 1908 painting, Big Nude, inspired this poem. The painting can be seen here and you can read the full poem here. In the first stanza of this piece the speaker begins by informing the reader that she has been standing 6 hours like this. Within the next few lines it becomes clear that the speaker is an artist's model, a woman in this case, who is posing nude for an artist. She also tells the reader that she is not being paid a huge sum, only a few francs. This gives a little more context to the poem, placing it in France, likely sometime in the early 1900s. The speaker, through a stream of consciousness-style narration, explains how the artist directs her belly nipple ass into the window light. It is the artist's goal now to take her color and move it to the canvas. He directs her to move right and to be still. The speaker attempts to reconcile her situation and how she feels about the position she is in. She knows that now she will be hung in great museums, and that the bourgeoisie will coo at such an image of a river whore. These people, in real life, have no regard for her or the role she plays in society, but as soon as she is elevated through a male artist's brush to the walls of a gallery she is the subject of admiration. In the next set of 7 lines, the speaker continues on from where she left off in the first stanza. She had just addressed the fact that the visitors and patrons of art galleries will see her as art. Her role transcends that of the mundane now that she is depicted in paint. She continues this thought up with the word, maybe. She does not feel so strongly about the universal merits of art as she expects the patrons of the gallery will. The speaker returns to trying to suss out the artist's intentions in the next phrase. She thinks that he is concerned with volume, space. To her, this seems absurd as her biggest worry is the next meal. Rather than empathizing with the woman, he is painting the artist points out that she is getting thin. He tells her, this is not good. The situation is not good for him as her shape is changing and he cannot accurately portray her in the figure painting. The speaker realizes that he is right about her body. She speaks of her breasts as hanging slightly low, and as the studio is a cold place. The only source of warmth, or previous source of warmth, is the tea in a cup. Within the cup, She can see the tea leaves, they appear in the image of the Queen of England gazing on my shape. She is on display for everyone, from the artist who is as poor as she is and the patrons of the art world to the Queen of England. The Queen, within the speaker's mind, murmurs terms of endearment at the speaker's shape. She sees this as ridiculous, the fact that her position within an artist's studio can revalue her to such a degree. The last stanza of the standing female nude is double the length of the previous. In the first lines the speaker gives some hint about the artist's identity. She says his name is George, a likely reference to George Barks. She knows that he has a great reputation in the country, others think him a genius. The next lines set out George's actions and describe the way the two communicate. As mentioned in the previous stanza, the studio is cold. So is George. There are times, the speaker states, in which he stiffens for my warmth. This line has a double meaning. He is cold to her and he reacts sexually to her body when he loses concentration on the work he's supposed to be doing. This says something about his assumed role as a professional and about his humanity. It takes him down from the pure, unsullied pedestal of the artist. Through his painting, he takes her from the real world and possesses her on the canvas. It is clear in the next lines that the speaker does not have the same positive, almost worshipful, view of the artist as the rest of the world does. She calls him a little man, and regains some of her self-possession by thinking that he does not have the money for the arts I sell. Both poor, we make our living how we can. Quote. She does not see him as better than she is. In fact, her position is better than his. She has other things to sell, a reference to her body, and he cannot afford them. The best he's ever getting is a long look at her while painting. In a moment of reconciliation, she recognizes that they are both poor, and making money the only way they can. In the next set of 7 lines, the speaker asks the artist why he does the work he does. His answer is a simple one, he says he has to, there is no choice. His moment of connection with the speaker quickly ends when he tells her not to talk. Her movements mess up his concentration as he's painting but also reveals her to be more human than he'd like to recognize. When she smiles it confuses him. She thinks this is because artists always take themselves too seriously. She contrasts this way of thinking about oneself with the way she lives her own life. The speaker informs the reader that, at night, she fills herself with wine and dances around the bars. She has physical joy in her life that seems to be unknown to the artist. In the final lines of Standing Female Nude, he shows her the painting. She tells him her fee, 12 francs, and covers herself with her shawl. When the speaker gets a look at the painting she can only say that it does not look like her. Whatever he has done, she does not recognize. Rather than tapping into some artistic purity and putting it on display on the canvas, the artist has crafted a version of the speaker that does not exist.